Okay, literature, you are now civil disobedience pros. You know that an act of civil disobedience has to be for a just or worthy cause that will affect a large group of people in some type of negative way. You know that an act of civil disobedience has to be a peaceful protest. You can't be damaging or harming people or property. And you know that if you're enacting civil disobedience, you're accepting of the consequences. And usually that means sitting in jail, right? That's what we've learned from Thoreau and from MLK. Both of them spent time in jail for their peaceful protests for just causes. Today, I want you to take the ideas from both of your close readings, from Civil Disobedience by Thoreau and from Letter from Birmingham Jail by MLK, and I want you to put those two readings and the ideas from those two readings together. So go ahead and hop on Schoology and click on this Civil Disobedience synthesis document. And a synthesis just means putting ideas together. Go to File, Make a Copy, so that you can edit your own copy of this document. And our goal, again, is to synthesize or put ideas together and to use textual evidence from our close reading. So this is why I asked you to hold on to those close readings. You should have these on Google Docs. And I just want you to complete this chart using quotes or textual evidence from Civil Disobedience and from Letter from Birmingham Jail. Over here on the left, here's your 3 characteristics or qualities of civil disobedience. For each one, I want you to find me at least one quote from either MLK or Thoreau to really illustrate that characteristic. So if you are finding a quote about fighting for a just cause, well, Thoreau's just cause had to do with protesting the Mexican-American War, and MLK's just cause had to do with the civil rights movement and equality based on race. So either one would work, but you need to find me a 1 or 2 sentence quote from either of them that explains or illustrates fighting for a just cause. Then in your own words, I want you to write me a short little paragraph over here that explains how the quote that you picked illustrates or represents that characteristic. How does this quote from MLK or Thoreau show that they are fighting for a just cause? Maybe mention the just cause that they are fighting for, right? They're 2 different causes. Now for each one, you should have a minimum of 1 quote, but for some, you might want to put a quote from each of them. Okay, that would really impress me if you could find that. You might not be able to find a quote for each characteristic from both authors, but you could certainly try. So at least 1, and I want you to use both authors. So that means if you use MLK for the first one and the second one, well then hop on over to Thoreau for the third one. You need to be using both texts, whether you have multiple quotes or if you just choose to do one. So find me the best quote, and if I were you, I would go back and look at what you've highlighted in both of your close readings, because I bet you've already highlighted a lot of details that correlate or go along with these 3 characteristics. So in this column, I'm just looking for 1 to 2 sentence quote. Make sure that I know who it's coming from, so just write MLK or Thoreau after the quote. And then over here, you are explaining how does this quote connect to this characteristic. Short paragraph, 3 to 5 sentences to explain. You might want to add some details about their background that we learned and what they were fighting for and what they went through. When you are done, you can go ahead and submit that on Schoology.